So what are you planning?
To watch it all burn.
The first season of Arcane was a masterpiece, a work of unparalleled animation and cinematography with great characters and a poignant story that built a unique and lived-in world, whether or not you recognized all of its League of Legends references. Expectations are sky high for the follow-up, and based on the first 6 episodes at least, it seems that lightning can strike twice. Acts 1 and 2 of Arcane Season 2 build on everything that was great about Season 1. Yes, this is still one of the best shows around, animated or otherwise. If the first season was about the brewing conflict between the citizens of Piltover and the years of oppression that led to animosity and hatred, then the first 2/3 of this season are an all-out war. Lines are drawn and violence escalates with each episode, showing how a leadership that chooses brutality leads to a radicalized populace. Arcane continues to pack a whole lot of plot into a short amount of time, with several storylines affecting the whole of Piltover, even reaching beyond the city's boundaries this time. The story remains centered on its characters and their individual arcs, which keeps these episodes from feeling too overstuffed or overwhelming. Haley Steinfeld gives a stellar performance, capturing Vi's rage and vulnerability. In Steinfeld's voice, you can hear Vi struggles to define her place in the conflict, and whether to ally with the very people that killed her parents or allow her sister Jinx to continue to torment others. Meanwhile, Caitlyn is forced to make some hard choices during difficult times, showing how hard it can be to hold your ideals while also holding on to power. Katie Leung is the MVP of this season's first arc, portraying the subtle ways Caitlyn's outlook has been impacted by her time in the Undercity, her time with Vi, and how they clash against a lifetime of prejudice and outside influence from the Noxians.
I want to tear that laugh from her throat forever.
Then there's Jinx. Ella Purnell's performance continues to amaze thanks to the layers of conflict and grief it encompasses. Jinx undergoes the greatest transformation throughout Acts 1 and 2, as she becomes a symbol for Zonian resistance and must decide whether she's a force of chaos or if she stands for anything or anyone.
Then stop me.
The writing improves in Season 2, though Arcane remains unsubtle in its commentary on inequality and systemic oppression. The place where the story falters is in the character of Ambessa Medarda, who is a simplistic antagonist with rather predictable actions and motivation. Still, without knowing where her story leads in Act 3, it's hard to criticize the show too much for this.
To return peace to this city, you must declare martial law.
As great as the story and the characters are, it's the animation by Studio Fortiche that continues to make Arcane a once-in-a-generation TV event. Not just in the action, but in the quieter moments of grief following the attack on the Council. The way Caitlyn breaks down after bottling up so much pain and emotion, the subtleties of her facial expressions, her body language betraying her true feelings. The team at Fortiche deserves all the praise not just for the spectacle, but also how they portray the characters. The way they move and emote is simultaneously grounded and realistic, but also impressionistic in a way that only animation can be. In a comical moment when Heimerdinger is caught by surprise, his eyes dart from one side of the room to another in confusion and panic. It borders on the cartoonish but remains grounded in emotion, and it's stunning to watch. Still, this is a show full of action, which was exhilarating in Season 1 and even more so in Season 2. As Arcane takes us from street-level brawls to super-powered duels of titans, as more fan-favorite League of Legends champions enter the fold, the punches land harder, accompanied by the sound of bones crunching and bodies slamming on the hard ground. It all has a weight that's often missing from 3D animation, and even most CGI-aided live-action fights. And yet there's also a fluidity of motion that captures the superhuman abilities and larger-than-life presence of many of the characters, particularly Jinx. And the references don't stop with the characters on display. There are many callbacks and Easter eggs steeped in the lore of the games, and even some meta references designed to delight longtime fans. Keep your ears out for a particular theme song. The tremendous leaps Season 2 makes from Season 1's solid foundation are most noticeable with the music. Riot Games has a history of making music videos to promote their games. It's part of what gives their characters and world a unique identity. While the first season of Arcane had a great soundtrack, this season is practically a musical. What can't be expressed through dialogue alone is stated in tracks like Renegade, We Never Run, and Cocktail Molotov. Though this can get distracting at times, a more inspired choice is the use of music to deliver exposition alongside cool visuals. Several episodes open with a montage accompanied by a needle drop explaining how the actions of our champions affect Piltover, or backstories that would diminish the show's momentum if they were explored midstream. This comes in handy because there's not only a whole lot of plot to sift through, but even more world building too, particularly surrounding the magic part of Hextech and the consequences of messing with the forces of nature, which expands Arcane's horizons considerably.
We do not lament death, we avenge it.
We'll have to wait to see how Act 3 resolves the many plot threads as well as where the characters end up. But for now, the first 6 episodes of Arcane Season 2 build on the masterpiece that was Season 1. Piltover may be on the brink of war, but it's the individual characters where the series excels, pairing a stellar voice cast with stunning animated acting. With fascinating world building, larger scale action, and animation that continues to push boundaries, this is a more than worthy follow-up.
This has to end.
For more TV reviews, check out what we thought of Agatha All Along and Uzumaki. And for everything else, stick with IGN.